The Champion Auto Stores Nationals, Brainerd, Minnesota. And David, this is always a kick, this race.
It is a kick indeed. The land of 10 million lakes, I think. You feel that you can't watch Yates and Alderman again. Will get a grip, because here they are once again on the starting line. A rematch of that incident that took place in Seattle, but this time it was a straight up deal. They came in pre-stage, watched Alderman stages first. Yates is close behind, as he knows Buster Couch is waiting for him, but Jim Yates puts a whole shot on Alderman like Alderman wasn't even there. And Yates wins with a 7:28.
I don't even want to know. What happened? Beat me off starting. Oh, man.
You did it again.
Oh, I don't think I did it again. What was it like up there? I didn't know.
17 to a 28.
How'd that happen?
You're good.
I thought it was good and fair up there. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't watching.
Nobody's
complaining.
fair
Last time.
Our final round was Jim Yates and Osborne.
And what a show these two put on. With Yates noted for his starting line reaction times, Osborne responded in kind, but did it just a hair too quick. He left the red light showing. That gave the win to Yates, his first ever national event title.
We've said it for over a year, Jim. You're just a win looking for a place to happen, and that place is Minnesota.
Thank God we finally got our first win. I tell you, it takes a big load off of us. You know, as hard as the crew's been working, Dick Maskin has been just working his tail off, and the whole crew down there, my wife Tony, and Dynamax has been such a good sponsor, and Pontiac has stuck behind us. It really feels good to come through at a time like this.
A beautiful 7:22, and Dick Maskin is the Sears Craftsman crew chief of the event.
I tell you, he works hard for it. He earned that.
I know that. Funny car, Gary Densham. The hobby racer from Bellflower, California. An industrial arts teacher, does all his own work. He can't afford to have it done. Has been racing as long as I have been around Southern California competition, and that's a long time. He was up against Richard Hartman, the Motorola car of Johnny West, in the semifinal round. Densham needs the money. And Densham gets it. Advances to his first ever final.
We've got 25 years of NHRA racing, and we'll be proud to race anybody that's up there. I guarantee you we'll give it our best shot.
He dropped a cylinder that time. Might have run pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's gonna. You know, the guys are tweaking on it. It's looking good. Richard, Ed, Army, everybody's just working their tail off.
Richard Bays, the crew chief for Gary Densham. Had quite a challenge in the final. Austin Coyle, Bernie Federley, John Force. The Nightmare was in the opposite lane. And while he may have hopped up Densham, it didn't do much good. Force was on one of those unbeatable strings in the middle part of the season, winning yet another one, 5:13 at 2:91. John Force taking the title at Brainerd.
Round one, Connie Coletta, near line up against Mike Dunn, the La Victoria Salsa car. But it was Coletta who had the fire this time. Salsa out of the motor. So Connie Coletta crispied up the headers and the tires a little bit. I don't think he was ever even aware he was on fire. Here is the other Coletta, Scott. He knew he was on fire, especially when the tire let go up against Corey McClanathan.
We know you have engines. The biggest question is, what about the car? Can you fix that?
Oh, yeah, we can fix it. We will. We'll be back.
Got Coletta, 200-mile-an-hour artillery convention, but he didn't make it to the final round up against Don the Snake Prudhomme. Prudhomme wanting to take a win into Indianapolis. That always gives you confidence at the U.S. Nationals. Whoa, and Prudhomme was out on Coletta. And a 4:79 won it for the Snake. 48th national event win, and I don't think you're done yet.
I don't think so, man. I tell you,
Indy's coming up.
I just want to prove to these cats that I can still drive after when I retire. I just want them to know I can still get it done. Thank you.
I don't think anybody had a doubt about Don Prudhomme. As we came to Indianapolis, it was the 40th anniversary of the granddaddy of them all, the biggest drag race of all time, the U.S. Nationals.
Oh, the Snake was there on a dreary day. The race didn't get underway till 3 o'clock in the afternoon. This was round number 2. Bernstein and Prudhomme with the fans. This was a pick-em. Snake liked the stage last. He did. Together. And Prudhomme breaks an input shaft. Kenny Bernstein wins it with a huge speed, 307 miles an hour. And that sent Don the Snake Prudhomme on a farewell tow in front of the crowd at IRP. Needless to say, he got a standing ovation and maybe a tear in his eye. The U.S. Nationals marked a real valiant attempt by Eddie Hill. he made the final round, not without some cost of parts and pieces. They had to change engines, but for Hill, this could be a season saver if he could just defeat Connie Coletta in the final. That's right, I said Connie Coletta, collectively the oldest W final in drag racing history.
A total of 114 years between these two drivers. Connie, the younger, at 56. Eddie had qualified #1 with a 476, but in the final round, he was just a hair late. And Connie outran him as well, winning his first national.
Conrad, is this fun or what? Great moment down here. Eddie Hill, Connie Coletta. Connie, you've won Indy.
Yes, it's something I've been wanting to do for many, many years. I've been here a lot. It's amazing. My mom, a couple years ago, she called me one night and she says, Connie, she says, that bottle of champagne I've had for 15 years to celebrate you winning, she says, I drank it.
Great job.
Maybe she was just a bit too early on the celebration, Connie. He had been trying to win since Detroit in 1959. Pro Stock Eliminator, round #2. It is Steve Schmidt against Scott Jeffreyon. And as we saw a race a couple of events ago, Scott Jeffreyon's title hopes may have gone down to the loss of traction right off the line. Schmidt winning it with a 7:15.
With Jeffreyon going out first round at Seattle, first round at Brainerd, second round at Indy, his championship hopes were starting to dim. But here in the semis, Darrell Alderman met this man. They call him the Cowboy, Mark Powick, a former NHRA national record holder, national event winner. And on this night, under the portable lights at Indianapolis Raceway Park, the Dodge fans were to be disappointed. Alderman loses control, almost crosses the center line. Mark Powick goes to his first ever Indy Finals.
His elapsed time of 7:17 stood him in good stead until he had to drop the clutch against Warren Johnson and the GM Performance Parts Oldsmobile. The Summit Cutlass of Powick gave Johnson a challenge. But for the third consecutive year, Warren Johnson won the U.S. Nationals, this time at a 7:13.
Let's see, that's the third U.S. Nationals for Warren Johnson?
Yeah, it is, boy. We're happy.
Quick but happy in the Big Bud Shootout final. Now, this was Sunday afternoon, the finals being on Monday. Kenji Okazaki, who had just ripped through this field, was in the far lane up against Al Hoffman in the near lane. Kenji's reaction times have been almost perfect. Big Jim Dunn making lots of power. Here it looked like Kenji had it, but no. Rocketing from behind with a sizzling 5:18 at 291 was Al Hoffman. Tommy Anderson and the crew trying to figure out how to spend that $50,000. Maybe a chiropractor's the way they're throwing each other around.
Steve, it took him less than 24 hours to figure out how to spend that money as Hoffman was in the far lane against Mark Oswald in the in-and-out car. Remember, Oswald had won once on the trail this season. They both smoked the tires, got back in it, and that proved devastating to Al Hoffman. A fire exploded underneath the Dodge body, and he rode it to a stop. But the damage was severe and probably took every bit of the $50,000 to fix not only the race car but the engine.
Al Hoffman, one of the rule killer cars, out in round #1. In round #2, we saw John Force on a tear up against KC Hollywood Spurlock, the fruit of the loom car that had won the Winter Nationals, the first race of the season. Force smokes the tires. Spurlock wins in round #2 at a 5:15. Did Austin and the boys get greedy? I think so. What went through your mind when you realized Force was out of the race?
I can't even tell you. I was so excited when I never saw Force up beside me. I saw that wind light come on at the guardrail, and I was ecstatic inside the car. It's a great day.
The final round under the lights is Bob Brandt, the crew chief that came on board on the McDonald's car at this event, was against Ronnie Swearingen, the head wrench for KC Spurlock. As they staged the cars, the concentration level absolutely intense, identical reaction times, but Pedregon had the performance at a 5:13, 288.
Cruz, you've done it. You've won Indy twice.
Spectacular, Steve. I can't even believe it. I woke up this morning feeling like, hey, it's going to be one of those days, but hey, we got our confidence. We have a great team. They worked awful hard, made the right decisions, and we got a break here and there, but we put up a good number in the final.